Welcome to the Citizen channel. A quick look back at the game at Victories Road. Yes, match report. Watford 1, Manchester City 3. So there you go. More money for the old charity bets, guys. 2 wins today. Hey, the pot's going nicely. I'll take that. I wouldn't have minded a 4 or 5 or 6-1 or something like that. But we'll take that, won't we? Of course, it was 5:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday the 4th of December. So let's have a look at this and we'll do the player ratings. I've just had a quick look at Stuart Brennan's in the MEN and done my own little version of it. City lineup, I only got 6 right, but hey, I was pretty happy with that, to be honest with you, because obviously all these little niggles cleared up, didn't it? We had a great team and we had a great bench as well. Let's just shoot through it. We had Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodrigo, Gundogan, Bernardo, Sterling, Foden and Grealish. That's a bit more like the team we expect, isn't it, guys? Look at this bench. All right, we had 2 keepers on the bench again, Stefan and Carson, but Stones, Ake, Jesus, Zinchenko, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Mahrez. Hey, what a bench. Eh? They're all back. I mean, it's funny. They say 7 days in football's unusual, isn't it? I mean, we're struggling, weren't we? Let's be honest about it. And all of a sudden, we seem to have everyone fit and well, and they all look pretty fit today. There's no one sort of flagged at all. I mean, he made his substitutions, but that was just obviously to give time for certain players. Watford, I got 9 of theirs right. Yeah, I was hoping to get at least 10. I was a bit disappointed. I missed out on a couple. Their team was Bachmann, Rose, Trusty Kong, Cathcart, Dirty Bugger, Loser, King, Sissoko, Cleverly, Pedro, Femenia, and Dennis. Yeah, that was their starting 11. They made a few subs, but we won't talk about that. Right, onto the little match report. I mean, we should have got in about 6-0 at half-time, shouldn't we? Let's be honest about it. It wouldn't have been unfair on Watford. Absolutely battered them that first half. I think it was 81% possession, and we did make the most of that possession. I think most of our shots and shots on target must have been in that first half. I mean, within the first 15 minutes, we'd had 6 shots, of which 5 were on target. Bachmann played okay, but obviously, unfortunately, we sort of aimed too many straight at him, but we'll get onto that in a second. We should have really added to that 1 goal we got after just 4 minutes. It's a great goal by Steele. You could just see him just picking his spot with his head. He just headed it down into the net. Very casual from a Foden cross after some good work from, well, who else would we think? Bernardo, of course. I mean, we did have these chances on. The chief culprit was Grealish, wasn't it? He looked a bit off the pace compared to the other guys around him, but that's how he plays. It's like saying Mahrez is off the pace. So when things reach Grealish, he seems to slow down just a little bit, as they do when Mahrez gets the ball. But obviously those in white, like a bit Real Madrid, you want it. Looked at night under the lights, buzzing all over. Twice, I mean, he had a header, didn't he, that was literally straight at the keeper. I think he got it straight to his chest, didn't he? And the shot was straight at the keeper. He blocked the shot, obviously. But Grealish, he's not known as a great goal scorer, but he does score goals. A bit disappointing. And he also had a shot nearly deflected in, and a shot well over before a brilliant Bernardo effort, wasn't it, from a tight angle after Gundogan had seen his shot blocked from a Sterling cross. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, Bernardo is just there. I mean, the keeper was a bit at fault. He left a bit of a gap there, didn't he? But we've seen that when Mr. Mendy left a bit of a gap at one of his posts today from a bigger distance than Bernardo scored from. But we'll take that. Fantastic goal by Bernardo. On 34 minutes, it was Foden. I mean, it should have been 3-0. I mean, obviously, say it should have been about 6 or 7-0 by then. But on 34 minutes, Foden, he turned superbly. Only about 8 yards out, and I think his shot scared the corner flag. I think it was nearer the corner flag than the goal. I don't know what happened there. Watford did look occasionally dangerous, especially down the right-hand side. And despite the City flair and dominance, they probably believed at half-time they probably could still get back in it. I mean, obviously 2-0 at Villa, we sort of had a few problems, didn't we, in that start of that second half. But as I said, in that game at half-time, the next goal is going to be very important. I did say that to my lad, and he says, whether it's going to be 5 or 6. So, I mean, he's quite funny, my lad, when he wants to be, but there you go. Yeah, I think we dropped down a gear in that second half. The chances still came, of course. We still played well, still put the ball. We didn't have quite as much possession, but not far short. And we did Chances were few and far between, really, before Bernardo made it 3-0. We had a 3-on-2 as well before this with Sterling, and this just didn't release it quick enough. He should have flicked it through straight away. I think Grealish would have been on his own. Whether Grealish would have done anything with it's another matter, but it came to nothing after really from a 3-on-2. We should have made more of that. This is where Sterling has sort of deteriorated slightly. Started to see the old Sterling in that second half. But shortly after, Bernardo jinked in, didn't you, a Walker pass, I think, and he took it on the right, jinked inside the defender, and a sublime left foot found the corner with the keeper nowhere. He had absolutely no chance. There was a Grealish deflection that skimmed the bar before KDB and Mahrez came on for Gundogan and Grealish. It disrupted us a little bit, to be honest with you. I think that little change. I think Bernardo drops a bit further back. We didn't look as threatening, to be honest with you. But it was no clean sheet again, wasn't it? It was sort of from nowhere. It wasn't any real thought this was going to happen. But Hernandez hits a shot against the post, a good shot, a great little shot, and it falls perfectly back to him, doesn't it? And Ederson did actually get his hands to it, but he couldn't keep it out of the net, unfortunately. So that was 3-1 with about 16 minutes left of normal time. Could have been a bit panicky. We've seen Watford score late goals, haven't we? But Jesus was coming on before the goal, and Pep still made the decision to bring him on. I mean, I suppose he could have brought Fernandinho on, couldn't he? But there you go, a bit negative. That's not Pep's way, is it? So Jesus came on for Foden. I think Jesus, for every one thing he did, I think at least twice he gave the ball away in crucial areas where Watford sort of piled forward. But fortunately, nothing came of it. They huffed and puffed, but never really looked on the cards for a late fight back. And there's a bit of a nasty tackle on Jesus, but we know Jesus, don't we? He does like to stay down. He did look okay. He limped off the pitch, and about 20 seconds later, he was running around as though nothing had happened. So we know what Jesus is like, don't we? So there you go, 3-1. We're happy with that. The key stats, Watford had 11 shots with 4 on target. That was okay, actually, but that's how Watford play. City had 26 shots, 13 on target, but I'd like to say Bachmann had a wonder game, but no, most of those were straight at him or obviously clear that. So yeah, even though it's a 50% on target, it wasn't, I say hit the target, but there's a way of hitting the target, isn't there? It wasn't really good enough for me. Possession 22%, 22% for Watford, so 78 for City. Not quite overall as good as the first half, but you can't argue with that. Pass completion 65% and 92% by City, so up there with one of our highest ones. Right, onto the player ratings. We've got Mr. Stuart Brennan giving his little score. I'll start at 7 for this, and I'm not going to give any City player less than 7, although a couple didn't quite hit the mark today. So my minimum is 7 if they have a good standard game, and depending how well above that they play, they get a bit higher than a 7, an 8, even a 9 today. I bet you wonder who got the 9. Well, you probably don't know me, but there you go. So Stuart Brennan's doing the Manchester Evening News. I'll give his little description, then I'll give you mine. Ederson Stewart says, sharply down to deny Dennis at 1-0 and secure with what little else he had to do. So he gave him a 7. I thought he played, I'm not going to blame him for the goal. I don't think there's a lot he could have done with it, but I think at least 3 or 4 occasions he had like fizzing shots, and he hangs on to him. I love it. I love the way Ederson always sort of clings on to him. Some keepers would sort of palm them out, whatever. Ederson does try to collect them, and I'm quite happy with that. A couple of crosses he come and collected as well. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. Kyle Walker Stewart said in cruise mode he was, but had the right side wrapped up and was good support for Sterling. It was, especially in that first half, where I think City were brilliant at times in that first half. It was just fantastic to watch. He's given him a 7, Stuart. I give him a 7.5. I think he's a little bit frustrated by Sterling as well. Certainly in that second half, a couple of times Walker wanted to be released, didn't he? And Sterling just held on to it. But I'm going to give Walker a 7.5 for that. Ruben Diaz Stewart says, strong as certain when ever called upon. Disappointed not to score. He was, he should have perhaps, could he have done better? Well, he's not a striker, is he, guys? Even our other guys who are a bit more striker-minded can't score sometimes. So Stewart's given him a 7. I've given him a 7.5. I've got to give him half extra. Solid as anything. He almost nicked one, and I say he kept Watford at bay for most of the time. And his partner as well, Aymeric Laporte, of course, justified Pep's confidence, says Stuart, with the fine displays. Passing is a key feature for City. say, yeah, I thought it was okay. Yeah, I think Stuart's a bit gushing there. He's giving me 8. I've just given Aymeric Laporte a 7. I thought it was okay. Don't get me wrong, but it just simple, did the basics. So I'm not going to go mad. But obviously Stuart perhaps saw something I didn't. João Cancelo. Stuart said, took a back seat to the real midfielders this week, but still a highly watchable support act he is. So he's given me an 8. Yeah, Stuart's given me an 8. I give him a 7. I thought it was quietish again. It was okay defensively, I thought. Actually, I thought it played quite well defensively, but it wasn't obviously... I think at least one attempt at one of these little flicks with the outside of his boot. Just because you do it once, mate, it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. And I think it sort of went out for a goal kick, if I remember rightly, in the second half. But so... just concentrate on doing it as and when you need to do it, mate. But, yeah, it was okay. So I will give him a standard 7. But Stuart obviously gave him an 8. So he thought he was better than I thought he was. Rodri, Stuart said, clamped down on any show Watford ambition. He did and forced the Blues onto the attack. Yeah, so he's given him an 8. I'd give Rodri an 8 as well. I thought he was always combative. He was normally on the correct side of the players. You know what I mean? He gets a bit behind him. He gets a bit clumsy and has to give fouls away. But I think he was pretty good today. I think he was pretty much up with it, and not bad. They say they're quite young, attacking-minded side as quick as they can, and Rodri was there to sort of break up things, which I like today. So I'll give him an 8 as well as Stuart. Give him an 8. Ilkay Gundogan, Stuart said Ian Bernardo, City's 2 midfield intellectuals were devastating in the first half. They probably were, but Stuart's given him an 8. Yeah, I think Gundogan a 7.5. I thought it brilliant for most of the first half, but. Obviously, in the second half, not quite at it. Nothing much came. It was a tale of two halves. A lot of City players didn't do themselves justice in the second half. I didn't think today. They say it's easily done, isn't it? When you're winning comfortable in a game, it's easy to turn off and relax because you want to save energy. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.5 anyway. Bernardo Silva. Well, what can we say? Well, I'm going to say something. Stuart Brennan said mercurial, magnificent, and masterful. That's alliteration for you out there. His 2 goals were pure moments of class, and Stuart's given him a 9, and I'm not going to argue with that. I'll give him a 9. I can't disagree. The only thing is he was a little bit underutilised for me once KDB and Jesus came on later on. I thought they asked him to play a bit deeper again, and I think he was doing that at the start of the season. He wasn't as effective. He was effective, but obviously not where it mattered. So I was a bit disappointed that obviously with KDB and Jesus coming on, he sort of dropped back a little bit, but what a fantastic performance overall. 2 great goals, absolutely brilliant goals. Well, I won't even comment on man of the match, guys. I think you've got to know who that is. Right, the interesting one, yeah, Raheem Sterling. Stuart said right on the spot for another goal, but the rest varied from penetrative to wasteful. Stuart's given him a 7. I was going to give him a 7, the minimum, the standard. But I have given him a 7.5 purely because he scored a goal. And that first 30 minutes of the game, it was a bit like the old Sterling. I thought it was excellent, made the right decisions. And then the last 60, he became hesitant. Said that 3-on-2 I mentioned before, where he should have really played it through very quickly for Grealish. He just seemed to lack. He got a bit greedy at times. There's a couple of occasions where we got through and he took shots. And he frustrated Walker a couple of times. I remember that. Walker was absolutely annoyed with him for not passing him the ball at certain stages. So yeah, I mean, he undid all his good work really by the first 30 minutes where I thought it was excellent. And the last 60, no, he was a bit back to his old self. So I will give him a 7.5 because he did score a goal and get us off and going. So yeah, it's just such a shame, Sterling, because I say he did have a cracking majority of the first half. Anyway, Phil Foden, Stuart said, teed up Sterling perfectly. He did and should have had 2 or 3 more assists in the first half. Yeah, so he got an assist, but I thought he was very quiet today. I thought, as I say, I will give him a 7. The standard, because I think even though he got that assist, I think generally he was quite quiet today. He wasn't overly, but he needed the time. I think he needed the game time, so I think he should be happy, and we should be happy with that anyway. Jack Grealish, Stuart said, so much to admire about his approach play, but he has to start putting away simple chances. Yeah, well, he's as I said, he's not a natural goal scorer, I don't think. He does score goals like any midfielder. I mean, we have midfielders who score goals, but perhaps not enough, unfortunately. So he's given him a 7, Stuart. I'm not going to argue with that. He seems to slow things down a little bit, as I said, similar to what Mahrez does. You know, when everyone's buzzing about, he seems to slow the little things down. It makes everything go a little bit slower, but he still has enough to sort of come away with the ball and beat players and stuff like that. So I will give him a 7, but yeah, if he had scored, he certainly would have got a 7.5, 8 out of 10. But unfortunately it didn't quite come off for Jack Grealish. And the 3 subs, I've not marked any of them. Stuart said about Kevin De Bruyne for Gundogan on 67 minutes, valuable minutes. It was. I don't remember in particular. I think he had a shot that just fizzed past the post late on, didn't it? Riyad Mahrez, Stuart for Grealish on 67. Stuart said strangely subdued. Yeah, he just didn't get into it. Basically, he wasn't really subdued. He just didn't really get into the game, unfortunately. Stuart gave him a 6. He gave KDB a 6 as well. Stuart, far too. They weren't on long enough to mark really, but so I don't take much notice of those scores. And Gabby Jesus, of course, for Foden on 75. A lively cameo, said Stuart. Yeah, well, he was lively, but unfortunately, everything he did okay. He sort of lost the ball a couple of times, and it could have ended not in disaster. He lost the ball around about the halfway mark, but Watford were quite quick. Watford were quite quick on turning sort of them into attacks, getting down the wings, etc. So it could have been dangerous, but as I said, nothing really came of the couple of errors I did notice he made. But Stuart gave him a 6 anyway. And of course, my man of the match, well, it's got to be on it. It's got to be Bernardo, absolutely. Scored 2 goals. You've got to be struggling not to get man of the match, aren't you, guys? So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the ratings, the players. As I say, obviously, based on what Stuart's got there's a couple of players he thought did far better than I did. So I've literally watched it, and obviously I've not watched it back, and I won't go and watch it back particularly. It's just my impression. I do little ticks and crosses and things on a little sheet of paper if I'm at home watching it and not at the game. So yeah, I just go off that and what I do. So man of the match, Bernardo, of course it has to be. Our overall record now at their place, we played them just 12 times in the league. We won 7, drawn 2 and lost 3, scored 28 and let in 12. I mean, yeah, Watford going forward, I mean, I think they've got some talent in that team. I think Ranieri's a bit, I don't know, he's knocking on a bit, guys, and to me, managers like that, he should be retiring now. He should be having a rest somewhere nice and warm. He's got plenty of money, of course he has, so... Yeah, I mean, and they do try to press, and against lesser teams, they'll do okay with that press. It didn't work against City. We had an answer to all the presses. It didn't really bother us. They didn't, but they weren't great defensively, to be honest with you. I thought Backman was okay. The goalie was okay. But you can see why the 17th, but I don't think that's really a reflection. I think going forward, they'll be okay. I expect them to be improved. And let's face it, I mean, that game today, all right, give them a goal, but City should have been 7 or 8. It should have been 7 or 8-1, to be honest with you, based on good chances. Not just half chances, but really good chances. All right, let's be kind. At least 6-1 or something like that. I mean, I'm being a bit cruel, 7 or 8-1, but yeah, it should have been a bit of a hammering for Watford today. We let them off the hook a little bit. But I think they'll be all right. I say the 17th, they'll certainly find 3 clubs worse than them. Obviously, Newcastle are on a climb up now, aren't they? They've won a game, but yeah, I'm sure they'll be all right. And Ranieri will keep them up. I think. I don't think because they've got some talent there. I was quite impressed. City, yeah, the negative. We need to take more of these chances. Obviously, it wasn't a tight game today, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to say I was comfortable when they got the goal back at 3-1. I should be. I mean, we were comfortable overall, but you think, oh, sneak another now, all hell will break loose. But yeah, we need to take more of these chances. Have we got the players to do it? I don't know. Bernardo's proved he can take him out. I just say I don't like Bernardo playing deep. I want him up where it matters, up in and around from the halfway line to the box. I don't really want him back in our half. I want him doing what he does best, and I think he's a great little goal scorer as well. So that's a negative anyway. We've got to take more of our chances. The positive, Raheem Sterling, he's top of the league. I don't need to say any more, do I? Well, let's hope we can carry on from this now. We've got a few. Certainly the next 2 home games are very, very winnable. And then obviously over Christmas, we've got our squad back. So we can't really complain, can we? We should go from strength to strength now. I'm not saying the other teams haven't got some easier tasks as well, but say Chelsea might start to panic just a little bit and lose it. So let's go on from here. Let's start another good run and let's start building up a little bit of a lead. I mean, I think Liverpool are the biggest danger at the moment. No disrespect to Chelsea. I think Chelsea will still be okay, but yeah, we just got to keep Liverpool at arm's length now. Let me know what you think, guys, anyway, today. And join me, please, this week. I'll be returning, of course, with an odd show and a preview show for the upcoming RB Leipzig game. That'll be an interesting one, won't it? And, of course, our final Champions League game. We don't have to do anything now. But now he's got a full squad. I don't expect many kids to play in that one, but join me for my preview and odd show anyway. I'll have a look at my starting 11. I've already penciled in about 7 of the starting 11 based on who was on the bench today. So let's see if you agree with me on that. It'll be an interesting game because Leipzig have got something to play for. But please check my preview show where I'll explain a little bit more about that anyway. Thanks for watching. What we're going to do rest day. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other as we meet here again on the Citizen channel. Please, if you want to have a little break, have a look at my film and TV channel. I do film reviews, drama reviews, information vlogs. I try and inform and entertain on there as well. If that's of any interest, have a look on there. But if it's not, if it's back on here, I'll be glad to see you back on the Citizen channel. I only ask one thing, don't I? Please, stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Top of the league. Come on. See you later.